defense and block both of their goal zones from being taken down.
Now, most of Nemesis are up here. Not a huge challenge. JL could steal it, as we know. Best secure in the game. Random auto attack from a support, but not going to happen at least yet. And it looks like quite a few KOs just trading off here. It looks like it was the Glaceon in the end that managed to secure that Regieleki. But they're going to get one of those situations where you lose the objective and you win the fight. So realistically, who's winning here? Regieleki actually going in the background. There's going to be a chance to score there. Right now, the slow beam just to stay alive, which does give you so much kind of self-sustain during it. And Astable's just staying up forever. Jeez.
Yeah, Astabel at this point just kind of using all their resources to see if they can stay up. I mean, that Surf is going to try to get them out, and they do. They get to the Amnesia cooldown, and while that blue HP bar is there, you're going to heal that more rapidly with that Amnesia, and they stay up the entire time. That is criminal. No slow beam Unite move for this next team fight. Those for Steel is already brought down to half HP. Hydro Typhoon to ensure that no one can get within range of KOing that Red Steel, and Nemesis going to secure another objective and earn themselves an attack buff.
Wow, it looks like we're going to continue to go. The Unite coming out from Machisel on the Garchomp is going to be able to get at least one KO. This is a little bit more of a defensive one. The Unite's going to come out from Cramorant, just trying to slow down Joey a little bit more. It doesn't look like there's maybe quite enough damage, though, to continue to support that. The Unite alone usually is not going to be the thing that finishes people off. And with only a defender and a support here to kind of assist, it looks like we may have to retreat for Nemesis.
And we're already seeing Machisel kind of learn how this Slowbro Garchomp matchup is going, right? We saw that slow beam earlier on the Inteleon on the top side. Obviously, Alter Ego is going to communicate to that to the entire team, and Machisel knows that they are much safer to use that Garchomp Unite move. And it was good enough to KO that Glaceon and have a kind of a pseudo team fight win. Despite them losing the objective, this match definitely feels way closer, and the scoreline is reflecting that as well. 138 to 135. These teams are in lockstep right now. This next Regieleki could be massive.
If this is a scary choice, right? You have to decide whether you want to commit to this. Like you said, it could be massive, but also it could leave you in a terrible situation. JL just barely getting out just by the like 1 HP that he has left.
Assault Vest diff?
He's literally an Assault Vest diff, yes.
I know. All right, well, the proof is in the pudding, I suppose, or maybe the HP pool, whatever you want to describe it as. And honestly, all that space has been earned. Regieleki will now be entirely going over to Alter Ego. No one within range to take it out, as Nemesis have elected to instead take the positioning in this top elbow. They do not want to give Machisel a free flank around to their backside without having vision on it. So I actually like this choice. However, Yifan has taken a lot of damage. Eventually is able to dive across those rocks and escape back to the portal. But Machisel has now earned that space on the top right side.
In the meantime, though, Rayquaza is actually taking quite a bit of damage. They're playing a scary game of chicken, and immediately we're going to go in with the Unite from the Cramorant. Slow beam just slightly outside of the range of that Cramorant Unite. That's gigantic. The Hydro Typhoon is going to catch several while everybody's getting launched up, and it's the Cramorant to take the final hit on the Rayquaza.
Oh man, Yifan just kind of untouched in the middle, even despite its Unite move, and they're going to take down all 5 members of Alter Ego. Nemesis with a full team wipe as they get the ace. Yifan going to dunk in their own Hundo Burger. No Ray Shield, but not needed, as Asnable is going to wander towards that home goal zone. But Nemesis now in perfect position with 1 minute left on the clock to be taking down Alter Ego 2-0.
It's not fully over yet, though. You can see there's so much Aeos energy in this center area, and they're going to realize that they're getting vision on that, at least, you know, from JL. So they've got an opportunity to kind of grab that. You can see their pockets are starting to fill up, and there's plenty of points. They just need to get a ridiculously good team fight. The Unite, the Psychic Solaire is there, the only one on board for the entire map, and this is a good start. They're now down by less than 100 points.
Less than 100 points. Rex is making their way across the map to try to score on the enemy home goal zone. So Alter Ego now has to take this fight 5v4. Hydro Typhoon from Metallic is absolutely perfect. It's going to be sending everybody out. Great coverage by Asnable to stop JL from scoring as well. Joey can take down Trainer. That's one more target down, but Machisel just doesn't have the HP. Roland is able to throw in 12. The Hoopa Unite move is at the enemy home goal zone. Rex is bringing in the squad. We're going to have even more scores from Nemesis. Nemesis, just impossible to take down. Who can stop this team?
Nobody that's left in this tournament, I'll tell you that much. YouTube tried, but now another team from North America going down to our month 2 champions. They're going to be continuing to move forward in this top 8. An incredibly close ending, but it all came down to just how how that final defense went.
Nemesis defending their pull zone so unbelievably well in the early games, making sure they have the good games, of course, in such innings.
Out there who are still using a strong Cramorant, but Yeet Fan, certainly, like you said, one for the birds, is an extremely top-level player at this Pokemon. I mean, being able to secure that final Ray was huge.
Phase ever, an obvious strong Unite move in the midst of that fight as well. Taking a look at the squad. So far, we've seen a lot of teams target, when you're targeting Nemesis in the bans, you're targeting Trainer or you're potentially targeting Pokemon. Pokemon, obviously.
Awesome. And before I let you on, would you...
That there were, we won 11. Like, so the one we lost is like,
because
yesterday to qualify for
who apparently that's Shinra Japan.
Yeah, one of the most terrifying groups for sure. But let's on that. So
that break from Zulu saying that Slowbro was the secret broken. But you know, we've seen it quite a bit today. There's so many defenders that you don't necessarily always go down that route. But especially if there's intends to be some star players, some great attackers on the other side, it's a great Pokemon.
Yeah, another player that's going to be playing a lot of defenders on Kabi-chan's side is going to be months. About average age of this team is 17 years old, just entering into the tournament. But we have our draft phase beginning for our game number 1 between Kapibabas and Kabi-chan's EU versus Japan in an elimination match.
And already we're getting some pretty classic bans from both sides here. Kind of surprising to see the Buzzwole ban come out from Kapibabas, as Kabi-chan's has proven that they don't really care about that Pokemon very much.
Yeah, exactly. And Kabi-chan's going with a double evolution banning strategy, both the Leafeon and the Sylveon. So very interesting. Kabi-chan's actually notably have been teams to do a lot of research on what the enemy team has been playing and target ban that happened against For Free, both in matches. So definitely having a lot of intel on these teams gained from watching some of these Swiss bracket games, making sure they're keeping an eye on all of their competition.
Yeah, and I mean, Slowbro first pick, we're just talking about Slowbro quite so much, but seeing what the attackers that are chosen is going to be a pretty big deal. Again, the metas are very different based on regions, and I would say Japan to Europe specifically, very, very different metas, more so than maybe most of, even just comparing the other ones.
Yeah.
We'll see if we see any cool surprises. Obviously, we saw the Japanese team choose Serena yesterday. I don't think we're going to see it again. So far, staying pretty close to the pack.
Yeah, we're going to be locking in that Trevenant again. It feels like that is I Am Tomato's strongest pick. However, they're, don't forget about their Lapras, actually. Incredibly strong player on that specific Pokemon. The Mew attacker definitely makes sense. They have loved playing this Pokemon in the tournament so far. This Pokemon getting a lot of playtime on Kabi-chan's. Last 2 picks for the side of Kapibabas. Very interesting. We're currently hovering that Gyarados with the 3rd damage dealer on the roster. Meowscarada or Talonflame, both interesting options. Now a attacker in this final slot is a really tough choice to make with the Talonflame, who can really take out that Pokemon. But the Dragonite has been Kabi-chan's strategy they've gone back to again and again and again.
Yeah, Japan in particular has a pretty long history, I would say, of using Dragonite even in the most recent meta, and it is a very strong Pokemon still. I think that they've really proven that there's a reason why that is part of their core group. And yeah, choosing it as a final one, I think it's a great choice. It's not going to be as vulnerable to the Talonflame as maybe some other attackers that you could choose in that situation. It's going to be able to give them extremely strong Secure, which is really important, I think, because they're going to have to challenge some of the Secure from having potentially Fly. The Espeon can be quite strong Secure, so they've got to be able to challenge it. Yeah, Gyarados,
bounce Secure too, right? I think the counterplay on the side of Kapibabas is going to be actually really difficult into the Dragonite. When For Free had success against the Dragonite from Kabi-chan's yesterday, it was all on the back of just really good isolation play. Before the Dragonite can even get in position to Hyper Beam, we are constantly pushing them out again and again. Now, basically, our only option is going to be the Slow Beam out of Slowbro, or potentially a very early use of that Psychic Solaire of Espeon. They're but those are really expensive resources to be using just to stop a Hyper Beam Secure. So I honestly think this Dragonite is looking fantastic for Kabi-chan's here.
Yeah, the slow beam target is going to be really, really important as far as kind of how the situation goes, because if you're not looking for the secure, Dragonite might not always be the best answer for the slow beam, but if you're looking for the secure, obviously you just want to get rid of that. But I mean, there's some questions before we even get to that point as we're getting into game one here, and my big question is, are we going to see this Magikarp pop off?
I love just watching him pop around, you know? This Pokemon is so funny. I'm so happy that Magikarp is a part of our game. Bottom path clear is going to be very interesting. I believe the Dratini will be just taking the blue buff. We do have a pause, one player just having an issue on stage. We'll get that sorted out as soon as possible, but I believe it shouldn't be anything too major. We'll have more Pokemon Unit action coming up. A really, really quick one, Jeff.
Yeah, I did see everybody kind of get out of the gate, but we'll make sure with our shoutouts to our translators, by the way. We can see them up there. They've been helping out a lot with all of the teams, of course, where there is quite a bit of a language barrier.
Right.
We're a lot more used to that at Worlds, you know, where it's literally called Worlds, but when you really think about it, there are so many different teams from so many different regions here that it's great to have the help, and we've been hanging out with them quite a bit this weekend.
Yeah, it's true. An international tournament thing we got going on. And oh, look at that. We got the Tandem Mouse on the end on the stage for Copy Babas. I would love to see Tandem Mouse and Mousehold in the game of Pokemon Unite. That would be an awesome addition. I would love those two.
Oh yeah, that's my pick. We may or may not have done a media piece where you did not get that correctly, but we don't need to talk about that later.
Well,
I don't actually
sounds like we did talk about
that. A little bit of a spoiler.
Yeah, all right.
Maybe that counts as talking about it. Hopefully they can figure out whatever this issue is. But again, you know, for people who are maybe not as used to watching Pokemon Unite, the big kind of cool thing about Magikarp is, of course, one of the most new Pokemon to the game. And technically we usually call it Gyarados because it does eventually end up as Gyarados unless something really bad happens, which is pretty much not going to happen. There is a unique mechanic as far as being able to evolve. Now, most Pokemon in this game evolve at levels, but specifically Magikarp evolves, well, it does evolve at a level, but that's not really how you want to evolve it. If you get it that way, you're probably in trouble.
Exactly, yeah, really trying to showcase its nature from the video game, taking quite a while to evolve. Magikarp has an effort gauge. It takes damage, if it deals damage, if it gets KOs, if it assists in KOs, or if it scores, any of those elements will actually increase that effort gauge, and if you fill it up, you immediately evolve into Gyarados. And maybe one of the most interesting things about that evolution is you get access to both of Gyarados' moves at that moment, which is absolutely huge. So, having that available for your Pokemon is going to be awesome, and you don't want to be Magikarp because you don't have access to either of those moves until you evolve to Gyarados. You will always evolve at level 7. That is the minimum moment, but that is a long time to wait.
Yes, that is not at all what you want to actually do. But we are going to be restarting this, so we've got a video for you. Check it out.
And here we are watching this winners match in our top 8, Dupe Snacks Fusion versus Nouns.
In the field action here, we just had Nouns tied up against Fusion. It is 1-1. They're going to a game 3 in this winner's round.
What an exciting time for Pokemon Unite, and what an exciting time to pop in and out of frame.
Wow, good to know. We have that match happening on the B stage right now. I know a lot of people were attending that one live in person. Folks, you gotta come and see these events live. Pokemon Unite at these in-person events is so, so cool. We're part of a giant Pokemon celebration, of course, but the fact that we are seeing Unite here is fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't even know exactly what we were going to be looking at right there, and I'm still not 100% sure what we were looking at. No, I'm just kidding. We were seeing some magicians, I believe, messing with the camera. But no, I'm really excited for all the matches. I'm sorry, illusionists. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I mean, there are so many high-profile matches today. Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous, especially just seeing how many of these teams have had to fight so hard to get here. I feel like this is something that's completely new to, you know, kind of our scene where we're a little bit more used to things going kind of starting off like normal, but not having to start with such a ridiculous open bracket.
Exactly, yeah. And folks, for the official broadcast, we wanted to just give you that update. We will not be missing any of the elimination matches whatsoever. We will be covering every single one of those on our broadcast. But yeah, right now, apparently Nouns Esports and Fusion tied up 1-1. Going to be very interesting to see who is going to continue on to that winner's bracket. Nouns Esports on a bit of that miracle run, or trying to make it so. Had to play in that Swiss Open bracket, and then they made it out and made it through the winner's side out of their group stage.
Yeah, and then Fusion, I mean, one of those teams that realistically has not been with us.
Fucking Wick and Espeon game.
We see a lot of these get
I've been taking from time to time now, so depending on the role that we see it in at this point in time. But yeah, Inteleon has seen some big impact. Didn't work out in that last series though, falling a little short time after time. So maybe it shouldn't have been on the list. Who knows? Let's take a from Shin,
which is from our currently with.
I think if we're going to be talking about good Inteleon players, Rom absolutely has to be in the conversation. In the Asia Champions League in particular, they were unbelievable, but it looks like as of this tournament, it's all about their Mew.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it's pretty surprising because Mew has had a really interesting kind of up and down over being banned, or sorry, not banned, Mew's not banned, over being nerfed and buffed, I'm sorry, where it was, I would say Mew was kind of the dominant special attack for quite a while, right, last year. And then now that we're in a situation where some Pokemon have come out that have been a lot stronger than it, and then those Pokemon have been nerfed a little bit, it's kind of coming back, but only every once in a while.
Yeah, it's true. And you see the stats on that Mew, 110,000 damage on that Pokemon. Absolutely absurd. And okay, War Turtle as well. Hopefully not a sign of a Blastoise that can't fully evolve. We would love for them. Or maybe it is, because I believe it's Kabi-chan's who has drafted the Blastoise. So maybe Kabi-Baba's playing the mind game and be like, look how cute War Turtle is. You guys should just stay as War Turtle instead.
You should get like a little piece of cardboard and like put the little level marker above it, you know, and just have it not quite be enough to evolve, just as like 6. That would be pretty good. But yeah, we've seen that. It's kind of funny, you know. I love War Turtle. We were talking about our favorite kind of you know, second evolution starters Pokemon, but we do kind of see it as like a this is not a good thing to be, right?
Yeah. And just an update for everybody watching, we do have the lobby remade. The draft is already finishing up, so the game is just moments away between Kabi-Baba's and Kabi-chan's kicking off. We're currently at 0-0, of course. It's a best-of-3 set. Whatever team can get to 2 wins first will be moving on in our tournament. The other will be eliminated. And I think we're all asking ourselves, how far can this Kabi-Baba's team take it? You know, I mean, we were doubting them so much after just not a lot of teams, our players or analysts had them predicted to make it out of the Swiss stage. And what do you know? They are now here sitting in top 8, representing their region while playing in it.
Yeah, and of course, we personally, we've been so busy on this broadcast, we haven't had a chance to see them very much. I'm not sure if they were on the Unite Battle Hub stream yesterday, but I feel like, again, they kind of just like snuck through while people were not expecting them to continue to go on and on and on. But if there's one opponent that they've got to defeat to truly make a statement, it's this one. I mean, they certainly already have, but we'll see if they can do it here. Our first game of Kabi-Baba's versus Kabi-chan's in the losers.
All right, let's get into it. We're already here in the crowd supporting. I have to assume that's for Kabi-Baba's. They got that home crowd advantage, right? So you're going to see that extra little bit of love. We're going to see that Dratini moving into the central area again, slowly clearing as Kikata has a really nice early rollout, is able to steal away that contestable ball toy and push it onto their side.
Yeah, this is going to be, I mean, we were talking about it before, but seeing how this top path goes, specifically with this Magikarp, is going to be a huge indicator of how the rest of this game could go. It's one of those Pokemon that you're really committing to making it work, and if it, I mean, it's kind of the center of your team in its own weird way.
Yes, it is. Of course, Gyarados having a lot of great options once it evolves. That bounce move, really powerful. The longer you channel it, the farther you can jump, but it also gives you unstoppable while doing so. You can play around Tomato's Wood Hammers in that moment, channel that move, and then of course don't get hit. Or a Blastoise Unite move is a great use of that. Don't get hit by the Hydro Typhoon, just charge your bounce.
Yeah, especially if we're seeing a Hydro Typhoon to try and stop a secure. Yep. It's such a good way to just kind of say like, I really don't care what you do, all I gotta do is time to move correctly. But so far, no KOs up on the top half, as we're gonna see all of the kind of center error Pokemon gather up there. In fact, most of the experience is gonna go to Kabi-chan's. Kabi-Baba's realizing that with just the Magikarp, they do not have the aggression to be able to kind of fight their way for that.
Yeah, Kabi-Baba is playing their Espeon into the central path for a little bit to try to get the most experience, but they are not going to be alone for long. Kabi-chan's actually sending 3 members of their team into the central area to try and stop them, and they are going to take not just the blue buff, but some ball toy experience as well. Feibao is just going to have to grab that ball toy in the central to even keep pace.
Yeah, I wonder if it would have been worth it to try and run down that Magikarp to get a little bit closer, but it was pretty far away. Magikarp is not the fastest little dude, but you just want to think of every little thing you can do. Right now, no points scored for Capybabas, which is not the greatest in the world, but they do have the Gyarados popping off now.
Yeah, the Capybabas does have Gyarados, so finally a bit of an answer, so maybe they can chase down Tomato, who is able to take a lot of that damage. Their passive procs and a little bit of healing starts going in their direction. Gonna try to make a dash for the Citrus Berry, but great cutoff. Young Leon gonna be stopping that and earning themselves the KO.
In the meantime, we're just kind of rotating. Looks like we're going to have a few members heading up top for Grafični to try and defend against this push. Now they've got a little bit more, or a lot more aggression from Nils on the Gyarados, who is going to be going down pretty quickly. And we are no longer in a situation where pushing is viable. This a Dragonite, finally a Dragonite, the Blastoise a Blastoise. So all of these power spikes finally hit, which is really enabling a great opportunity that Grafični is taking perfect advantage of, as they're going to get even one more KO before they maybe break this.
Yeah, Capybabas with a really slow rotation. I mean, Gyarados and Espeon are both just clearing wild Pokemon, and this Talonflame, which has been bottom half Talonflame, by the way, for this whole matchup, have just been remaining down here with Fabao and Toast. So not rotating whatsoever. A lot of presence on this bottom path. I'm trying to play with priority around that objective, which is already spawned in, and Dragonite is already within range to secure, I am sure. Hyper Beam, and of course they have all the positioning in the world. Tomato misses that Woodhammer stun, not gonna find it. We do got a pause on stage.
Oh, interesting. We'll see what actually happened. It looked like everything was going quite well, but at the moment we are definitely paused. Now, we are just about to head to the kind of basement Reggie there. We're just getting to these objective timers, which is going to be a really big deal. And I do want to talk about exactly what you were talking about how we had the bottom Talonflame, the bottom path Talonflame. And I'm pretty surprised about that. I kind of expected, or I should say normally a lot of the time when we do see a Gyarados, a Magikarp attempt, we see some sort of speedster, some sort of like assassin that can really jump up there, help them try to get some of those KOs. So I expected maybe we're going to see the Talonflame. Of course, the early aggression of having an Espeon up there is just as good, but we could have seen something where it was like Talonflame starts bottom, grabs like the second half of the center area, and then they stack top, some sort of big aggressive move, but instead it's been kind of just a chill Talonflame.
Yeah, Toast is pretty comfortable playing that bottom path matchup and just earning as much experience as they can, even despite not having access to as much as possible. So playing it a little safer on that Talonflame. Of course, is one of the best, like you were mentioning, burst damage options. You have Gyarados to kind of initiate some of these moments, have some big splashes of damage, and have Talonflame crash it down, which is what we're going to be jumping right back into, as Talonflame does land on Tomato, but the stun was still there. Makes it really tough to re-engage. Fabao going to eject button away from the Hyper Beam, but can't make it out of the way of the Ultra Ball. And Tomato lines up an absolutely perfect Trevenant play. Eject button, Woodhammer, Horn Leeches, everything in Trevenant's kit makes that impossible for Capybabas to deal with.
Yeah, Toast even landed directly into that, getting hit perfectly as they fell. Great choice of timing, and now they're going to be rotating up top where this Regieleki has still not been fully taken care of. And actually getting down a little bit lower means that they've got a better opportunity to be able to set up an overdunk if they so choose. They are going to be able to push it in. Nils getting extremely low, getting KO'd by that Mew with the enhanced auto attack, and now they've only got 5 seconds left. They've got to put in their points. There's not as much time because of how low it was. They're actually not going to be able to get the full break, but setting up low for a gigantic overdunk is huge, and actually they're just going to be a very tiny overdunk, make sure they're able to break it.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking so tough for Capybabas at the moment. Grafični's putting together basically a two-pronged offense and executes it perfectly. They are going to retreat back in time. I think they only gave up 1 KO in that entire moment, and Mew was able to steal away the blue buff after retreating into the enemy central area. So the catch-up options for Capybabas at this point in time are just so few and far between because of how holistic Grafični is playing.
And it's playing a little bit sneaky right now. Oh, no, you got caught. Very nice little read right there where being really controlled. I love this. They're sitting for vision almost like it's about to be a Ray fight, but it's about to be a Regieleki fight. But just make sure that not a single angle is uncontested here. They know 100% of the information that the enemy team is going to give them. Right now, we are going to have to run away a little bit as this Mew, the Unite coming out to get away from that Solar Beam, but the Unite to counter it as well. I like that a lot. We are going to see the KO on the Eldegoss. Psychic Slayer is going to come out to give a second over to Toast.
Wow, Copy Baba's having a really successful team fight, and they're going to immediately pivot towards that bottom side, but the final boss of Copy Johns is going to be Tomato. Telekinesis picks up the Trevenant and pulls them away.